Hello guys, so welcome to the stream, and today we're going to be continuing with the application from where we left yesterday. I had some technical issues with my internet yesterday, so I had like 3 streams which were split. So today, hopefully things won't break, but let's hope we have something substantial by the end of the day. So we had tested our application and seen the API endpoints are working, and the next part was to let me just figure out where we had stopped. So this code I had pushed online, so I think it's quite clear how we can just bootstrap a lot of these things. It doesn't need to be so much complicated, but for this we'll try and simplify better part of these things so that whatever we put out there is not that complicated. So we had gone through the setup of some of the setup of our config, and after setting up the configuration, we added Zod, we added dependency injection, and there are quite a number of things that we have made dependency injected. So I believe we are on the right track, and probably I'm also trying some things that I haven't tried, so I'll just try to simplify as much as possible. So by simplifying these things, it will just make it really easy for us to like know where we are headed and where we have reached. So I believe by just doing this project is quite a great thing, because if I'll be able to hook this up until we have something substantial, it would be of great benefit. So I think better part of this we have done, and with the TypeScript support, there's just a lot that we are doing here. So I know currently the JS community is really embracing TypeScript, and that's what I'm trying to embrace, so that if you're someone who is new to TypeScript, you don't get intimidated, because these are some simple stuff that you can really figure out with the help of the internet. So with me, it's not like I'm a great developer, but I'm a CS student with a great determination. So I hope that whatever I'll be sharing through these will motivate you here and there. So we were supposed to look on some areas like error handling. So what I like doing is to make sure that the tasks, how I set up everything, is in a way that it really makes it easy for me to handle major parts of these things. So in here, we'll add some validator. So this validator will be used to extract error messages from Zod and make sure that we're able to resolve these errors in the best way possible by just extracting the error message from these errors. So going ahead, because this is something which is related to errors, then we can just add it here in the, so we can have here error validator validator.ts. So if you're new to this channel and whatever I do, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to promote this channel. So I'm just also looking for growth and also share the vast knowledge that I have on backend. So also if you have some recommendations, you can just share in the chat so that we can chat along and learn from each other. So I'll start off by exporting my error validator API error validator. Okay. I'll export class. This should be a class, which is an XPI error validator. So this error validator will be so it will validate our schema. So we can have something here like validate validate schema. Okay. So this will take it will be a generic. So generic in the sense that we'll have our data and we'll pass a schema and a payload. So we expect that what we'll pass here will be our schema, which will be of type, let's just call it Zod. So we'll import Z from Zod, then we'll pass Z dot schema. So we'll pass a schema of type T. Then this should be inferred, and the payload will be just something any. Payload will be, we can have it as any. Then this one will be self-reflecting. So what we do is to const because by analysis of how Zod handles errors, so how Zod handles errors, so if you have an error, then there will be a list of issues. So we'll have the code, the path, and the message. And I won't go to the nitty-gritties of how Zod does this. So if you're interested in looking at how it does the parsing, but something which is ideal here is that we'll get this error.issues. Okay. So as a simple example is just using this. This is a sample. So with this, I believe we'll just go back and make sure that whatever we are doing here is, let's just have this as result. Result which will be schema. Will pass schema dot save pass. So we'll do a safe parse of the schema, then we pass our payload. Okay, so we'll have result, but in the result, what is contained here in the result, we have either if it is successful and the data and the error itself. So if we have if there's no success, okay, so success is a boolean which tells us whether whatever we've done is successful or not. Then if we don't have a success, actually like termination kind of boolean checks, that is to mean I exclude all the possible wronggoings from above. Then now the last thing to be executed should be what is correct. So if we don't have success, if there's no success, that means we have an error. Then now we can extract, okay, issue issues, yeah. So for the issues, we'll have it in the error. So from here we can destructure error, yep, comma error, if I can get that right. So we'll have error dot issues, okay. So this should be an array of issues which is of interface of Zod issue. So for these issues, we'll just extract the first issue, that is array at point 0. Then now this issue will just extract the message, const message will be issues. So let me have this as first issue to make sense, because when you're returning error messages, that means it's just the first one. I can't like load everything to the user, like password is missing, email is missing. I just need to focus the user on one thing so that they don't have like to think through a lot. So I just throw single error at a given time. So I'll go to my first issue dot message, okay. So the message will be that, then I'll convert it to lowercase, okay. After converting it to lowercase, then what I'll need to do, dot includes, so what this will do is to just check if we have a path in our message. So we'll pass issue, first issue dot path, okay. So path now is pointing to the field which is being validated. Then we convert it to string, okay. Then I think we'll need to also lowercase dot lowercase then if it includes, if it includes the path, then we'll just return the message. Otherwise we just return the path and the message in it. So I'll wrap this in square brackets to make sure that it distinguishes the part and the part for the field and the message itself. So on this other end, you see we are not doing any kind of formatting to change the message. So going by this, then now we need to throw our error. So we throw new error, which will be API error. So our initial error, then now we'll pass the status code of bad request, http status dot bad request. Then we'll pass something like meta. So in here we'll just add status error. Then what else can we add here? Type validation error. So that should do it for that part. So if something fails, then now we throw this error up here. Otherwise, we just return the data. We return the payload as T. Okay. Then we can have this as something to do dependency injection. So at injectable, then we'll pass here at dependency. So once that is passed, this will make sure that we'll just inject this to the class, then pass our schema, and it should be able to handle the validation for us. I think that's it for this one, and should be something that we've checked. So next is to so this schema, the validator settings. So the validation part is done. So the validation part is done. The next thing we need to do here is to, I think I'll just commit this, add schema validator for parsing code errors. So the nice thing with this is that when we call this API validator, error validator, I think it's not an error validator. So I think we'll need to push this to schema. Then have it as API schema, API schema validator. Then this one we can rename to validate. So that should do the trick. So just refactor name should not be to refactor so refactor the schema validator, commit that. So this can be as Z. Yeah, it's just T. And this we can infer to be any for now, or we can have it as unknown. Just be like this, no? Can leave it off that way. Then we can infer. So it should give us the type of the schema that we passed instead of trying to make it generic. So I'll just add here refactor schema validator to infer schema with payload. We'll just sync this. So once that is done, the next part I'll need to focus on is to now now work on some utilities. So these utilities that I can be able to reuse across the app. So with this, I think let's go to our API part and see how we can craft out the services and the controllers. So we just have this here, and we need a way by which now we're able to use the routing so that when we come here everything is just figured. So let's see how to go about that. So inside here I'll go to maybe I'll create folder known as let's just have it as client. So plant will be now managing everything that we'll be working with. So for instance, let's have users. So because this is what is usually the first point of creating we say is the first point of existence of an application. So without a user, majorly you won't have anything. So in here, I'll add a folder known as schema. So that is for the user schema. I'll add a folder here for controllers. I'll have services. After services, then I'll have utils. So this should have the utilities, the schema, and the controllers. So controllers, the structure will be. So let's just add maybe get users .ts. So I like having single file, single responsibility. So we will export class as get as controller. So we'll advance these things as time goes by. Then we'll just need to have a method known as handler, which should be doing a request response, API request. Then we'll have a response, which should be API response. Then we can have our next, which will be API next. Okay. So with this, meaning we run a try. What I usually do is to run a try catch. Then on the catch block, I'll return next to the error. Then we can return this status dot okay. So this should be good. Then here, what we'll add is to add injectable. Then we'll add here add dependency. So this will be very handy when I will be working with services, because we'll be ejecting several services in here. So this is just enough for this. Then now we can just export, have an index.ts. Yeah, export stuff from get users, but this is get all users. So I'll have it as get hyphen all users, so that the name goes with whatever the this thing is doing. So then if we come now to, we'll have our index.ts. So with this we can choose to do it in a particular way. I can use a functional way or a class-based way. But class-based way will be quite heavy. However, we'll be injecting, so I'll just use the functional approach. So export function. setup users, setup user routes. So in here I'll just have my app, type props. So in my props I'll have app, then this should be router. So then I'll just pass these as props. So once you have props, we'll have our app here. Then in here, what will happen is to get all users. Or I can just simplify this. So we can create a router instance here, router which will be a simple router. Then at the end of it, we'll just say app use. Then now we'll be using /users. Then we pass our router there. Then router.get. I can just write here di. So this will be pointing to our dependency container. Then I'll just pass that in there. So import it. Then if I now get the handler, it should be able to like give me the class that the class and the method that is there. So we can test this by importing this to our v1. Then now we can just we can try checking this out by going to localhost roles. Do you have this even running? Yan dev. So 8080 reload, method not allowed. So let's go to users. Okay, so get users is not added here. Let me see whether this is it's really been cool. Oh, it's users. Oh. Yeah, so it's working well. So I want to simplify this in a way that it's really easy to inject context into this. So the idea is to have the handler, then instead of passing all this, we'll infer infer these. So let's start off with just something simple. Let's see, TypeScript method decorators. Is this TypeScript? As you can see the example, whenever decorator function is called, TypeScript find set of parameters to that function, but those parameters are very small decorator types. Yes, the target property key descriptor, which is a property descriptor. So property key reports the name of the method. Value and the function that is the actual behavior. Okay. Let's see how this goes. So log a target property key, which is the string. This not the original method. So we have the args 0 calling method. That's before and after logging behavior decorated method, because the parameter get first content property key, the name of the decorated method. Let's see. So once we've decorated everything, we now return the descriptor. The original method or the okay, so okay, result is equals to original method dot apply this. Okay. Let's see. As designed used to somewhat general manner, you can apply it to any method that has no or many parameters. Okay. So let's see how we can go about it. I think the way to maybe work around it is to, here in our common, I will add interfaces. Then we can add controller.ts. Then for the controller, export base controller, export interface. I like type, export type, base controller type. So this should have a method for post, which is optional, and has a request, API request. So I want to be going with this approach. I will have a type like a context. So this context will be passed to our method, which should give us the request from a response. Should be API request. Then have the response, which will be API response. API response. Then we can have our next, which will be next function. So with this in place, we can have here to be our context. So inside the context, we'll pass our context here. Then whatever we'll be returning should be one of these, whatever we've specified here. So what does this handler return? It should be either void or API response, but it should be a promise async. Okay, so that means it's a promise, which is this. Now we can that here. So I need to achieve this kind of approach for get. Delete, patch, then put. So for the put, so just having it like that, they should be able to like make sure that whatever we are having will kind of pass a given context to it using a decorator. So we can export here request API request request context. Then now if we go to our decorators, common have our decorators. So for the decorators, let's have our controller dot decorator dot ts. Then this should just be a function, export function controller. So we expect this to I won't be going with that path for the moment. So what I just want is the target. Just on the target, which will be of type any, then key, which will be a string, then descriptor, which will be our property descriptor. So with this, let me just expand that. This will make sure that whatever we'll be doing, so so I need to, in the first place, this should be a class decorator. Let me just TypeScript class decorator. So I'll start with the class decorators. Let's see. So original will be the target, then new constructor. I won't be doing anything to do with constructor. All I need is to get all the properties. So I just need the target. So I just need the target. Then I need to get all the properties. Const original will be our target. Then now const properties, which will be we'll use the get on property names. Then we need const valid properties, which will be so const API methods. So these are the valid API methods. We also have options, which should be here. We shouldn't dismiss that. We also have the head. So if you have one of these, so we'll just need to check if these names are there. So valid properties, we'll just filter out the methods that have those properties. Then now what we'll need to do here is to for each valid property, valid properties dot for each. So for each property, we'll get the original method, then we'll pass the property here. So I'll just rename this to property key. Then I need to add a context. So I need a context, context, which should be API request context. Where was that? This. Uh, so we'll import this. So once we add our context, we'll need to pass our request. So original, we'll need to just see. I need to let me see what we have here. So original method dot prototype, add this. Okay, so this is for the class, add this property key. Then we get the args. Those arguments, we need to inject so I'll need to inject these as context. So then after now passing this, then I'll just return the original. I don't know how best this would work, but let's see how it goes. So we can log property key that and see whether this will work. Just this client controller get all users, then I'll pass controller. So this requires one argument. Okay, so I need to, how did you do the other one? BI. Okay. Okay, so for me to call this, I'll need to see. So I need to just return this. Okay, what did we? So now we can just enclose this. With that, if we come here, then call this. So can extends base controller implements actually base controller type. So post, or do we have get? So this should give us context. Let's see. We'll have our context. Context. So we have our context. Let me see. Let me just see why. Why does it not reflect the context? Yeah, let me just log the context. Just for now. So you have that, and you have some issues. Got object of undefined. Let's see. Let me test if it still works. It's working. Oh, okay. So this is injecting. So we have the request, we have the response, and we also have the next. So the injection is working. So what we need to, I'm not sure why this isn't working. But if we have that in place, then we can abstract away, can try and abstract away let me see if this can work. Let me just see if this can work. We can try catch, then we return context.next. And just try that on the error so that we don't write so many try catch blocks. And now what I can do is to just throw an error here. Z. So because this is working, so let me throw an error here. Throw new error, which is just test. So we have get method, which is being injected, and if we add post, we'll be able to inject post. Now we have post injected and get injected. So if we go to here, request, so this broke actually. Is there a way we can run this without comma document? How can we in here? Let's just leave it as it was. So this one is injecting the required details correctly. Where is this? Yeah. So this should be able to work well. And let me now test, reload. Okay. Okay. So if we wrap this in try catch block, I need to find a way on how to handle these errors. So here we'll return next. If we refresh, it should be able to give us this, but if we don't have a try catch, then this will fail. So let's see how to fix that, because it shouldn't be failing. Let me just try and see how to go about it. Let me try and see how to wrap this to avoid so I am writing this decorator injector and need a way so that when plus when an error is thrown in the controller, it does not break the app. So okay, let's see, this will do. Context, try catch this. So await document quick fix add a sync modifier. So make it async. Then we await the original method. Then we catch. Let's try and see if this will work. Oh, okay. So it didn't break anything. 001. Oh, okay. So this works well. We don't need to we don't need to actually now write the try catch blocks when the error is thrown. So next is to how do I do this? This context is not passed, so let's see. So I have class that implements an interface, and the interface methods properties are not propagated on the defined class methods. this one. So because I don't want to pass this context, I want context to automatically pick type based on the type. See this type provided, which will be this. Okay. Let's have this. And now we let's see if that will do. I still get any, so let me see. If I remove these optionals for now, and now we need to implement all these it's so should this be the approach? Okay, so I think then there's no need here for this actually. So we can have a return type, will be any for now. So let's just omit that for now. Now this here. So that having been generic, we need this. Does this operate without this? I don't know. How do you make sure this automatically picks everything? Implement. Let's see. And see whether this is working well. So then we need a way to validate our we need a way to validate our data. So in the context here, where do we have the controller method? The context here also will have params, which will be query. So API request will pass pick API request params. So this should be, then you get the params. Then we can also get the query string. So then you can have the so when you have the body, those will be injected on the fly, and in our controller const params query body, those will need to pass them to our context. So that they are available globally. So once that is in place. We need a way to probably, because this is in place, we need a way to, let me see. This base controller type. This should be optional. Make sure that even if they're not implemented, we don't get any errors. And in here, we're passing the body and param on the query. So we need something here, which will be quite interesting. So export function. So with this, what we need to do here, we can have type props, method props, which will be param schema, which might be z schema, z dot schema, query schema, then body schema. So if you have all those, then we'll just we'll have these as props. And once you have those as props, then here we don't need much. It will just be the first, actually it will be the first argument. So in the args, we'll get the context. So context will be our first arguments. So what we'll do is to, if you have a param schema, then we'll need to validate. Okay, so we won't pass this here. We'll pass API schema validator, API schema validator dot validate. So we'll just create const validator, which will be a new API validator. Then now we'll validate validator dot validate that. Same to this. Um, so in the context here, we need if you have prop schema, so instead of doing it in this manner, we'll say context dot params is equals to so props dot param schema, then we'll do that. Otherwise query, then we'll pass the query, otherwise we'll have that. Then if you have the body, then you have the body parts. So this should take care of the rest. Looking into the upper one, in the upper section we did a try catch, so we'll have our result. So we'll try here. This should be a sync. Then we catch error. Then for that error that we catch, we'll return it to done context.next. Then we just return the next here. So with that, can come here, this, and controller method. So then we can change this to API controller. Then API, we rename this to API controller method. If we get here, I can add let's have a simple schema. Const simple schema, which will be a z dot object, then name age, import zod, so inside here I'll pass inside the get I'll pass at API controller method. Yeah, then I'll just pass the, let me go with query schema. So we'll just add that there. An argument for descriptor was Hmm. Sync, it should be async get. So this will be API request context. Once we get that context, we pass our request schema to this get. Let's try and see what will happen. Refresh, then nice. And now we are able to validate. So you can see name is required. So if I pass here name equals to Mike, to be able to work, then you can see we have age. Next we can add and age is equals to 45. Then you see age expected a number but received a string. So this means whatever we're working on is getting somewhere. So for the age, I'll just try and add z.union number or string so that it's able to receive it. Then if we pass, then it give you API works. Then now if I get the body, I get now the body, then return the body. Then now you're able to see this is what we have in the body. If I get params, these what are params. So okay, let me see. Let's see why. Oh, it's query, not params. We have query. It's query. So refresh, then you should be able to get this contextual data. So this is how you can, I think we've added some key things here that will enable us to write this API in a very faster manner. So you have the post. If you choose to go that route, you have this. So we can continue simplifying this. If I chose not to pass this here, then it should be able to still work, as you can see. And if I pass the schema, then it should be able to do the processing and validate whatever we have passed there. So with that in place, that means now we are able to validate our method. So you just pass either your body schema or your param schema or the query schema, and Express should be able to handle that for you. If you have other contextual data that you want to pass in the body, then we can look into that. So so that's how easy it is to set this up. So we've put so much emphasis on building our custom decorators to make sure that whatever we're working with is okay. So next, I'm seeing this code is not properly formatted, so let me just delete this for now. Then So once this is in place, then I'll commit this and just say add. What we've done is to, in here we've added let me overall in the decorator part, and these two, controller this. Let me just add everything and say add special decorators for simplifying for auto injecting API methods controller class. So we'll continue advancing this to make things more easier. So I'll just commit this. So once that is in place, what else do we need? We need to set up ESLint. So prettier and ESLint. TypeScript ESLint. So how do we get started? We're using yarn. Just copy all this. Okay. Then in our terminal, create a new terminal session. Just once that is there, we'll need to create an ESLint config. Copy this, come back to our terminal, our VS Code, paste, then whatever contents we have here, just put them in here. So once I think this is okay. I don't know how you now start adding these methods. What's here? Okay. So let's see. How do we see? Okay, so do not extend this. Why is this really hard to? So we have rules. Rules to rules. Type of so we'll take type of fruits. Yeah. Mm, see. It's here. Oh, okay. So what's this? Mm, yes. And we can install ESLint plugin. Then now we can add workspace recommendation so that when someone installs it, we get recommendation. Then we can add prettier. Also add to workspace recommendation. So for the rules, the ones I look for is I'll just check here SS. Refer as const. No use before undefined. No unused vars. No. No mixed numbers. No magic numbers. No implicit any. No empty interface. Max params. Consistent type. Okay. Let's add that here. Nothing so far. So there's one for space between params. ESLint space between lines padding. Let me just copy this. Add that. Line break type. Save this. Format prettier. Then after that, linting docs, quick start, npx. So you can see we have so many. Yeah. Yeah. So in our package.json, we can add lint. Lint fix. SRC. So check on the SRC. Then here also we run a fix young lint. Then we can lint fix. So you can see some have been fixed, like in the interfaces here. some padding between these what's yeah, yep. So this you can just disable this for now. Fix so disable for that line. Come to the DI here. We disable this for the next line. So disable for the next line, auto bind, quick fix for this line. Also disable this for this line. Okay, so for basic stuff, I think I'll disable for the entire file. But you can see we have a bit of proper formatting. So let me just confirm if our controller here, now API client controller, we need padding between method names. So padding, what we have, we also have one for classes. See. New line, new line, new line, new line before return. We have that. Add that. It's here. File. Unexpected any. We'll disable for the entire file for now. Next, this one and entire file, and here we just say okay, and this do fix disable for the next line. Next is to so let me see. Just have a bunch of it here. Let me replace this. Okay. So black line always return const let var. Let's see. Try get post. So how do we pad? Let me see. Block line. Statement type. Document. Let's see if what if I this show why this is not padding. Okay. There's no cause for alarm, so we just need to write npx and yarn add radio. Let me see. Oh, and add. So add prettier, then I can npx prettier init. Yes. So what's happening? So answer questions about your style. Arrow, yes. Bracket spacing, yes. Semi, yes. Single quote, tab width, filling comma, use tabs. So setup, we're going to use TypeScript for this. 8 tab will be space between brackets, yes. Yes. Single quotes, yes. And none. Then it's indent with tabs. Go with spaces. JSON, YAML, JSON. So pretty RC. Then once that is in place, we need to generate an editor config to ensure that the editors get whatever things we are having, so that if you're on Vim, you have almost similar setup. So I'll just go to editor config, config. So in the editor config, I'll just copy this default one, then add it here, dot editor config. This will contain everything we need for this, and for anything which is dealing with the JS JavaScript, JS, yes. So this part will be star.js, then indent style will be space, indent size will be 2, then tab width will be 2. We'll add trim trailing white spaces, true. Then insert final new line, true. Then end of line will be LF, which is for Linux. So for these, I think this one I'll take to the root, insert new line, true, then end of line. Yeah, that is already put up there. What is left? So that's it for this part. Then we'll add pretty ignore. In the ignore, we'll add our list .vs code. Then we'll have node modules. Coverage log. anything log. Then we'll add .eslint ignore, eslint ignore. I'm not sure if that will work, but after rules here, we need to have files. I will be pointing only to the files which are in the source folder, not somewhere else. Then now we can just try and lint fix. Then in our package.json, then we can create a format. So yarn format. Then you'll see we have JS brackets on same line in here. Okay. So this is online. So if we format this, this also, JS brackets same line, prettier JSON. What options do we have here? So format document, format with prettier. So format working. I'm not sure why this is ESLint. Let me see. I think that should work. List node modules. Then right here we'll use prettier ignore. Require config. Bracket same line. Single quote. Okay, let's see. ESLint. Ignore. This is lint class. think that we won't worry about this. It's so, yeah, it's ignored, and everything else should be working. And linked, we run our lint. It's no longer support switch using. Then we can copy this from here. What are we ignoring? Once. Non-node modules. So if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. I'm just building along this app, and what I like doing is to set up almost everything well, so that when I start my development, things are a bit easier. Why? Just lint it. Delete. Nice. So what we've done here is to add linter, and formatter. It. So this is what you have here. So I think it's really nice what we've done so far, which will make it really easy for us to continue building on this application. And what we've done here, we've set up the linters, the formatter, we built our decorators for the controllers. Make sure that when now we start building on our app, we make it really simple. So this is the file we've gotten, and the next thing is now to set up the database so that we now start building on this. So what we'll be using is Drizzle. I'll be using Drizzle ORM. I really liked Sequelize, but with Drizzle, TypeScript is really nice working. I'll just use Postgres here. Then, as you can see, this is the structure they're expecting, so this is what I'll go with. So this will be DB. db, then we add schema.ts, then from there we have our index.ts. So we'll start off with this. We'll add it to root of our project. After adding it, we'll install this, and add this. So add Drizzle ORM PG and .env. Then we'll add Drizzle kit and types for PG. Also add this. So that's done. Next, we need to create a folder known as db. In here, we'll have db. Then we add index.ts. So this guy assumes familiarity with the .env. SX package for running TypeScript files. Node Postgres package for querying a PostgreSQL database. Okay. So we have our schema.ts here. .env drizzle config ts setup. We'll need database URL. So we'll add this to our env schema, which is here. In our schema, add this, which will be a string. We won't have any default. So check in our console. You'll see the nice thing with Zod is that whenever you pass something which is not there, we must have it defined. So we'll need to add our .env. Yeah, which will be that. Then we can add .env .example, so that we can always replicate this. This will be Postgres. Just add those dummy data. Save, and you should see it's working. Next, once we have the database URL, we need to create an index.ts file in our srcdb. I'll just copy this, then go to our db. So in the db, we'll paste this, then we can just export default db. The next, we won't add the schema yet. Then in our config, we'll have drizzle config.ts at the root here. Then we can just paste here. So once this is in place, let me see how we can applying changes to database. So migrate new, we need to add migration scripts. Migrate new, then we'll add here npx drizzle kit generate, then migrate deploy. So this now will make sure everything is pushed to the database. Format, save. Seeding. Just using ban. Guides. Schema. So schema in one file, the most common way to do schema. Schema.not, you can name a schema file whatever you like. This approach works well. Not have multiple files. In the drizzle config, you need to specify the path to your schema. So let's convert this to point to schema. So in here we'll add schema, then can add our user table. Yes. Then you have to export this. Constraints, nums, table name. Put table name in TypeScript. export class user table should be G table. So this should be pointing to users. Then we can have some timestamps. So we can have timestamps here. Constants. So for our constants, we'll add table timestamps .ts, then export function get table timestamps, which will give us so we can say dated type props update dated boolean then deleted. Yeah. So then we can have these props. So with this we can say if only updated, return. If created only, if all of them will return then if created and updated, so first created which will be timestamp from pg created at then here we can use mode should be string dot not null the default not created so if something is created, then it should give me so I don't know, maybe if I'm going to use I'm just using lowercase created at, then now I need to add created by, so this should be in integer created by, not null. On this end, I don't think if we really need these ones, I'll just return all of them that choose deleted at, deleted by, deleted. Okay. Just remove that. So that in our schema, in the user table, and just say the ID let me see how we specify the ID name for columns, therefore the schema will generate first name, database model name often uses snake case convention, while TypeScript is common to use camel case. For naming models, this can lead to a lot of alias definition in the schema. To address this, Drizzle provides a way to automatically map camel case in the database by including one optional parameter during Drizzle database. Use casing. Okay. So casing here should be use our DB. Casing snake. I don't know whether we also have it here. Casing should be snake case. Let's see. One common feature is to separate columns in different places, then reuse them. For example, consider updated at, created at, and that. Plus many table models may need these three fields. I can analyze the creation, deletion, and updates of entities in a system and define those. Okay. So we can have this as default. This should be nullable. Default null. So for let me just remove this because something will have create some conflicts with the not. Some will need to be nullified and some won't. Just leave them off. Move that. So that in here what we have is created at yep. So with that, and remove the integer there, then come to our user table, then in the id integer, do you integer big int integer pg dot. Then we can have our first name, then this will be string. So what do we have? Varchar. So from pgco we'll have our last name, email, password, then we can spread get table timestamps. Then here is active. So this should be boolean from pg false. Then is email. Then we can have last login at. Then can have our password. Need to reset password. So those are some fields we can have for the user. Last login at, last login IP, then needs to reset password. Dot unique. No. So for the email, it should be unique. So we'll have our username. Should also be unique. So with this last login IP, this should be nullable, nothing like not nullable. Last login at, this should be dead. Then mod string is email verified, password not null. Yeah. So we have user table. So we can try run migration. Yeah, and migrate new. Then this should generate migration files. Yeah. Then you can see we have these ones defined here. So what I'll try to adjust here, I think migrations, we put them into migrations folder. So in the migrations, Let me see. Drizzle. Mhm. See, out. Should go to migrations. Delete. Run. Operations. Breakpoints. So that will do for migrations. Let's see. Fix. Let's see. That's not bad. Thank you, Asnike. So these generate a migration script for our DB. So this should fairly be okay. So the DB is set up, and I think that's how simple it is to set up Drizzle. So set up Drizzle DB client, and now we can just commit this, and we can sync these changes. So I think for better part of this, we are done. It's been quite a while, so I think for today we can close it at that, because we've done so much. Where we started was to set configuring some of our decorators. Next, let's comment that out. Remove method inject logging. Sync. I think this is we can leave it at this. But we've done so much today. We set up a config. We can set up a config for this application earlier on. We added some few constants. This is for the database to generate the created art, updated art, and the deleted art. So deleted art, this should not be using the default now, actually, and it should be nullable. There are some issues to fix. So for Drizzle, let me see. There's something with let me see. It schema. This updated art should not also have default now. Fix updated art. That timestamps. Time sync. So we added a few constants, added more decorators, like this controller decorator. This one, what it does is to add this one, what it does is to make sure that it adds the context for the request and response on the methods that are defined in the class, and make sure it passes them the method. Once that is done, then now we'll wrap the whole thing inside a try catch to make sure that when the method is called, we pass just the context, which will destructure everything here and make sure that you can get the context of these directly from your controller. Then we added another API method controller to make sure that if you pass some schemas, you can add schemas to validate your automatically validate your request body or your the query params or the query params or the params themselves directly. So it will perform this. Then if there's any error, it will use the context to return the next. So that's it for the method decorator. Then for the auto bind, we are done earlier. We added now that one. Where did we add that? There's somewhere we added our where is it? in the I think validator. So we added this validator to try and parse uh, the input that we pass and resolve the ZOD issues that we have. Afterwards, it will return the data with the type which it will infer from the schema that you'll pass. And as you've seen, we have used it here in the controller decorator to process this, using the validator to validate the body, and then just create a new instance of it here, then use it to validate the body if in case the schemas have been provided. We added sample API endpoints using the this simple controller. Then what you need to do is to just make sure that whatever you are passing here, the body of the class, you make sure that what you have is either a post, put, get, patch methods, so that we are able to inject the context. If we don't have those methods, then you won't have the context for that application. So then in here, we're just exporting. Then the root, we have these we use our dependency container to get the class that had on the other side. So then we just call the get method, and it should be able to give us their request response, and you can see we have the context. It's quite intriguing how this has been set up, but it's fairly simple. Going forward, we'll be able to move very fast with the design. So the good thing is that if as they say, if you want to cut a tree, you take time to sharpen the axe, that when you go cutting it, it's really easy to cut down the tree. So with this, it's a great move for whatever we've done here. And whatever we've done, apparently you'll find that major libraries like Nest.js, they use this, or Angular, they just wrap around these and just get the abstraction. But for this, we are the ones building abstractions by ourselves. So if you feel like something is not working correctly, then now you can just adjust it or fine tune it to suit your needs. So for more of such, feel free to subscribe and give it a like, so that these may reach more people. So for now, let's meet in the next one. Thank you for watching.